Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making these cute little Yeti snowman monsters. They are what I consider a no-sew body, which means we're going to start by making the arms, and then we're going to make the legs, and then we're going to move on to the top of the head, work our way down, attach the arms, work on the body, stuff the head, attach the legs, and then finish him off and close. And then we will have to sew on the face and the horns and whatever little bits of embroidery that we add. For this video, I will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you, and I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to begin with the arms, and you can start any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing a knot with a loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1, and remember that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 8 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to pull that tail to close that hole if we need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 8 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 16. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Increase 3 and 4. Increase 5 and 6. Increase 7 and 8. Increase 9 and 10. Increase 11 and 12. Increase 13 and 14. And our last increase 15 and 16. Row 3, we are just going to do 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 4, 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 5, 16 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 6, we're going to do what I call a double crochet cluster of 5 and then 15 single crochets all the way around. So for your double crochet cluster, you're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn again and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's once, yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. That's twice. Yarn over, go in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. That's 3 times. Yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. That's 4 times. Yarn over, go in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. You should have 6 loops on your hook, and now you're gonna grab your yarn and go through all 6 loops. And there's your little thumb. And now we're gonna do 15 single crochets, but I'm gonna count this as 1 and start my single crochet count as 2 for a total of 16 stitches. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 7, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. row 8, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 8. So 1, decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, and our last decrease for 8. And then as we're doing our last one, we're just going to pull up and leave those 3 loops on our hook, because we're going to change our color now to whatever the base color is that you're using. So grab that. And now you're just going to tie your new color to your old color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it. Two or 3 times. And then you're going to grab that new color and you're going to pull it through those last 3 loops of your decrease to finish off that stitch. And I'm just going to tuck my ends in so they're out of my way. Now for rows 9 to 20, we are just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do those consecutively. So that's 12 rows of 8. 8 times 12 is 96. So I'm going to do 96 single crochets and then flip my marker every time I hit a set of 8. Oh, I got a mess here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to flip my marker, but keep on counting. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, flip my marker but keep on counting, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. And we're just going to hold that off for a moment, and we're going to stuff his little hand and arm. We'll take our stitch marker out, grab your stuffing. So you're going to want to have about a handful, and let's split that in half. So we're going to put one half in the hand and one half we're going to use for the arm. Now if you find that this is really tight, put your stuffing in, grab your scissors and just use the points to push that down right to the bottom of the hand. And grab your other chunk. So usually I stuff my hands fairly firm, but I feel like I'm overstuffing them, so I'm not making them quite as firm. So there's stuffing all through the hand, but I can still give it a nice little squish. Then I'm going to grab a piece of my other chunk of stuffing, and what we want to do is lightly stuff evenly down from the top to the bottom of the arm. So I'm just going to get it started, and then I'm going to just grab little sides of that stuffing so I can get it down without pushing a whole ball of it. So as soon as I hit here, I kind of pinch that, and I'm going to hold my stuffing and pull my scissors out, and I'm just going to try and evenly get that stuffing through the arm. So there's stuffing in it, but it is quite flat, and that should help with not seeing the stuffing through the arms in the future. So once you're happy with how much stuffing you have, you're going to insert your hook back in. You're going to go in the very first stitch and you're going to go in this last stitch under both sides of that V, and we're going to do 3 single crochets across through the front and through the back. So 1 through the front and the back, that's 2 through the front and the back, that's 3. And then leave yourself a bit of a tail. Even though we're not sewing them on, I do something with the ends to help secure them a little bit better. So if you've just finished your first arm, I will be putting a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp, so you can go back and do your second arm. And if you're finished your second arm, just keep on watching and we'll move on to the next part. All right, now we're going to start on the legs, and again, you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing a knot with a loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1, and remember that does not count as a stitch, that's just attaching our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 6 single crochets into this loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail if you need to close that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, that's my yarn splitting here, there we go, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1 single crochet, 1 increase for 2 and 3, and repeat that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, and repeat that around. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we're going to do the toes. We're going to start off by doing 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to start our first toe and our repeat of our toe rows. So we're going to do a double crochet cluster of 5 like we did for the thumb. So remember, yarn over to that first stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops. So that's 1, and we're in the same stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you should have 6 loops on your hook, and then you're going to grab your yarn and go through all 6 loops. And if you're doing this in plus yarn, you could probably do it in 4s instead of 5s, just because I know that's a lot to get into that one stitch. And now we're going to do 2 single crochets, so make sure you're in the next stitch. 1, 2. And then we're going to repeat that for 4 toes. So that's 1. So we're going to do our double crochet cluster of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through all the loops. And then 2 single crochets. 1, you may have to pull that, 2, and you may have to pop your toes out as well. So that's 2. Our next one, double crochet cluster of 5. 1, 2, whoopsie, 3, 4, 5, and then pull through all the loops, and 2 single crochets. 1, 2. So that's 3 toes now. Double crochet cluster of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through all the loops, and then 2 single crochets. 1, 2. So you should have 4 toes here now, and then we should have 5 single crochets left to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Row 6, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and make sure you're going in all the right stitches here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 7, we are going to start off with 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 6 invisible decreases. We're going to be using the front loop. So if you've never done front loops before, instead of going straight through and under the V's, you're going to come down and up and in between the 2 V's, just catching that front loop. So invisible decrease, you're going to catch that front loop and then the front loop of the next stitch. So you have 2 front loops. You're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go through those 2 front loops. Then you're going to grab your yarn again and go through the 2 loops on your hook. So that's once. So front loop, grab your yarn and pull through, grab your yarn and pull through again. That's 2. Invisible decrease. That's 3. Invisible up. See, I'm still not great at these. So that's 4. Invisible decrease. That's 5. Invisible decrease. That's 6. And then we should have 6 stitches left over to finish the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row 8, we are going to start off with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do 6 invisible decreases. So remember, front loops of the next 2 stitches. 1 invisible decrease. That's 2 invisible decrease. Oh. That's 3 invisible decrease. That's 4 invisible decrease. That's 5 invisible decrease. That's 6. And then we should have 3 single crochets to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, and then we're not going to finish off this last stitch because we're going to change color now to our base color. And now we're just going to tie our new color to our old color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then grab that new color and pull it through your last stitch of the last row. Okay. Now for rows 9 to 20, we are going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. And again, I'm going to do those consecutively. So that's 12 rows of 12. 12 times 12 is 144. And I'm just going to flip my stitch marker every time I hit a set of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, flipping my marker, but keep on counting. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, whoopsie, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, flipping my, whoopsie, no I'm not, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 97, 98, 99, 100, and I'm going to count by ones now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, flip my marker, keep on counting, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. All right, now we can take our hook out, take our stitch markers out, and then grab your stuffing. And again, take out a good handful. We'll split that in half. At least one half will go into the foot. So what you want to do is kind of sweep your finger up into the toes without spreading these decreases at the front. Grab another little batch and we'll stick that down into the heel. If you think you need a little bit more, you can scooch that up to the front and add more to the heel. You just want to make sure you have both done the same way. I'm just going to add a tiny little bit back in there. Just so it's a bit on the firmer side, and then slowly stuff up your leg. Not quite as firm as you did the foot, but firm enough that if you want him to kind of be upright, that his leg will be firm enough for that. He won't stand on his own the way we do it, but if you have him leaning against something or on a doll stand of some sort. So I think that's probably about it. So what I've done is I've stuffed it fairly firmly, but I haven't gone past these 2 rows here. So I want to pack it down so I have these 2 rows free to kind of pinch it so we can close it. So it'll look like this. So when you're happy with how much stuffing you have in there, just like we did the arms, you're going to go in the next stitch, and then you're going to go in that last stitch, and we're going to do 6 single crochets across, but we have to do an increase in the middle because we only have room for 5. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and then we're going to do an increase in the next stitch. So that's 3 and 4, and then 2 more single crochets for 5 and 6. And then we can tie that off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail. We don't do much with these, but I do tie them on the inside just to secure them a little bit. So if you've just finished your first foot, I will be putting a screenshot over in the next frame with timestamps to go back and do your second leg. And if you've finished your second leg, just keep on watching and we'll continue on to the next part. Okay, we're going to start at the top of the head now, and again, you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing a knot with a loop on the end as if I was going to be making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull up, and chain 1. And remember, that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 6 single crochets into that loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail if you need to close up that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. Row 6, 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, oopsie, and our last increase, 35 and 36. Row 7, we're going to do 5 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 42. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, increase, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, increase, 27 and 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, increase, 34 and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and our last increase, 41 and 42. Row 8, we are going to start off with 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we're going to do 3 increases. So increase, that's once, increase, that's twice, increase, that's 3 times. Now we're going to do 18 single crochets across the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now we're going to do 3 increases. So increase, that's 1, increase, that's 2, increase, that's 3. Then we should have 9 single crochets left to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Row 9, we are going to do 48 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Row 10, we are going to do 48 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Row 11, we are going to do 48 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Row 12, 48 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Row 13, 48 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Row 14, 48 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Row 15, we are going to start with 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to do 3 decreases. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases. Now we're going to do 18 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now we're going to do 3 decreases. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases. And then we should have 8 single crochets left to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 16, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, 9, whoops, still 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and a decrease for 36. Row 17, we are going to do 4 single crochets, a 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Row 18, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 19, we are going to do 2 single crochets, a 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, decrease for 3, 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, decrease for 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Okay, so now we're going to get our arms out. I guess I didn't have to take that out. Now, generally it doesn't matter where the arms go when I do my patterns because I just separate them so they're on each side. But this time you're going to want to make sure that your arms are on the sides where your increases and decreases were. So you might have to just double check when you're going around. Here's my 3 decreases. So you want your arms to kind of fit right under there somewhere. So as you're going around, just kind of double check. Just in case my stitch count and your stitch count is different where our stitch marker is sitting. Okay, so should be 5 single crochets to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can just kind of check where your decreases were. So here's my decreases, and my 3 stitches for my arms are going to be there. So that's pretty close. Close enough for me. You don't want to do any more than 6 or you're going to end up in the other row. So grab your arm, and remembering that this is the back where your stitch marker is. You want to make sure your strings and your thumbs are pointing towards the front. And you're going to go in that first stitch of your arm and the next stitch of the head. And we're going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and through the head. So 1 through the arm, through the next stitch of the head. That's 2 through the arm, through the next stitch of the head. That's 3. And then making sure you're in the next stitch and not going in the same stitch, we want to do 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now grab your other arm, and again make sure your strings and your thumbs are pointing towards the front and not the back. And we're going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and through the head. So through the arm, to the next stitch of the head. That's 1. Through the arm, to the next stitch of the head. That's 2. Through the arm and the next stitch of the head. That's 3. And then because I had 5 over here, I want 6 in the back because I had 6 in the front. So I'll only have 1 left on this side. If you ended up having to do 6, you'll have none. If you're left-handed, you may have had to do this row backwards. Okay, row 21, we are going to do 2 single crochets and 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, increase, 3, and 4. And repeat that around. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12. And as you're going around, make sure that these strings are staying on the outside because that's where we'll need them for later. 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 22, we are just going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 23, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. Row 24, we are just going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I think I'm going to have to switch camera angles here. So I will be back in just a second. Okay, row 25, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and our last increase, 35 and 36. Row 26, we are going to do a 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 27, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 28, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 29, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 30, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 31, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 32, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and our last decrease for 30. Row 33, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. All right, we're going to do a couple things here now. So first, I think let's grab our stuffing and we'll stuff the head. All right, so you're going to need quite a fair bit. The trick to this head, a lot of it is stuffing out to the side. So where you made those 3 increases and decreases in the head, so you see how they're kind of popping out on each side, that is where you're going to want to put a lot of your stuffing. So first I'm stuffing the top half of the head to get it filled, and then we're going to scooch it to the sides. All right, so that's a fair bit in there now. And as you're doing it, kind of just hold on to the neck so you can kind of protect those stitches from stretching any more than they have to. All right, so I'm going to take a chunk and I'm going to go on one side over to here, and then I'm going to go on the other side over to here. And remember, it's going to be pretty close to where your arms are. And if your arms aren't quite where they're supposed to be, you're just going to try and fake it a bit with your stuffing. So say your stitches are back here and you want your head to be poofed out here, try and stuff it more here than where the actual stitches are. So you just want it to kind of make kind of an oblong shape. So see how that's coming out? So now we'll put some in the other side. So all I'm doing is sliding down by the neck and then poking my finger up into that. Let's call them cheeks for now. We'll call them these little cheeks. So, and you want to make sure they're kind of even. As even as you can get them. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I might put a little bit more in the center here. And then I think we're good. And also what I'm doing is I'm just stuffing to the neck. I'm not stuffing the actual neck. That will also help with these stitches here. Now see, I just gave it a push and I did spread those open a little bit, but luckily it's white stuffing and white yarn. All right, I actually am quite happy with that shape, so I'm going to stop stuffing. It's quite firm. You want yours to be quite firm as well. If you want, you can add a little bit to the body. I'm going to wait for a few more rows just so I have room in my camera view. Now we're going to add the legs. And I do have a stitch count, but just in case we're not in the same spot with our stitch markers, what you're going to want to do is have your legs in the front 12 stitches. So whatever you need to do to get to the 12th stitch on this side, if our counts are different, so grab your legs. And let's get our hook back in. And I am going to begin with 11 single crochets to get me to this side. Yours might be different, that's okay. And if you're left-handed, you may be doing this row opposite of what we're doing if we're right-handed. So I'm going to start with 11 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then my first leg is going to start right here. So you should be just close to the front of your arm here. You don't want to go past 12, otherwise you're going to be running into the next row. So grab one of your legs, and remember this is the back, so this is the front. We don't have any eyes on, so try not to get it backwards. And you want to make sure your toes are facing the head and the body, because remember he's upside down right now. And we're going to do 6 single crochets through the leg and through the body. So through the leg, through the next stitch of the body. That's 1. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 2. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 3. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 4. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 5. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. And then we're going to take those tails from the legs and we're going to stick them over to the inside out of our way. Now you're going to grab your other leg, same thing. You want your toes facing the front of the head and the body. And we're going to do 6 single crochets through the leg and through the body. So through the leg, through the next stitch of the body, and be careful of which stitches you're going in because it's really easy to go in the same stitch here. So that's 1, through the leg, through the next stitch of the body. That's 2, through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 3, through the leg, the next stitch of the body. That's 4, through the leg, the next stitch of the body. That's 5, and through the leg. Oops, better go through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 6. And now I'm only going to have 1 single crochet left here because I had 11 on the other side, so we need 12 on the front and 12 on the back. So yours might be different. Whatever you needed to do to get the legs on the front side. Oh, and I forgot to put this in. So if you forgot, like me, to put your leg tail in your body, we simply just thread that on our darning needle and put it to the inside, right where our stitch would have been. And then now we might as well tie them together, get them out of our way. So you want to tie this loosely because you don't want your legs to scrunch together. So just kind of so they're around the same length as the one leg you're tying against. Probably could do it a little tighter than I just did, but so see, you want it just to sit on the inside and give those a trim. Again, you can add stuffing now if you want. There's only about 3 rows left. I might add a tiny little bit, and then I'll add most of my stuffing at the very end. And you don't need to stuff the body quite as full. You just want to make sure These stitches you do now, these rows you do now are flat, and your stuffing isn't coming out because you don't want it to be rounded. You want it to be nice and flat so he'll sit nice. And I like to do this. Just kind of stretch out that bum a bit so it gives him a little more in the back to balance. And then also it leaves a nice little hole in here for me to add stuffing at the end. All right, let's get our hook back in. So for row 35, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and a decrease for 3. 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, oopsie, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10. I'm grabbing something I don't want to grab here. So this is still 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and our last decrease for 18. Row 36, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that around for a total of 12. So 1 decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. And we just have 1 row left if you need to add any stuffing. I think I might just put a little bit more in. So right now I'm taking advantage of that little hole I made up inside, and also I want to be pushing it out to the sides so it stays flat. Okay. When you're happy with the stuffing, we'll do our last row. Row 37, 6 decreases. You may not have to do all 6, whatever you feel you need to close. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, and 6 decreases. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So you can tie that off leaving a little bit of a tail to close. And I'm going to take my stitch marker out now too. Right, so let's put our darning needle on. And now all you're going to do is weave in and out of these top loops of your last row. And then once you're all the way around, you're just going to give it a pull to close that hole. And then I like to tie my knot in the next stitch. And then we're just going to put that down in the center and hide it up somewhere in the body. And then I also like to give it a good pull to hide that knot down in the center. And then we'll do the arms as well. So put one of your tails on. It doesn't matter which one you do first. And what you're going to do is you're going to come down in the last stitch where your arm was attached, right where that knot is. You're going to go in that hole. You're going to come out the back center of the neck somewhere. And you're going to want to keep track of these strings, which side is which. Now we'll grab the other side, thread that on. Same thing, you want to come in that hole where the knot and the last stitch was when you attached your arm, and you're going to come out in the same place your other arm tail came out of. Again, keep track of which is which. And we're going to give it one tie. So just like that. Wrap them around the neck. Flip him around. And now you're going to use these strings to pull these arms in and forward a bit. Just make sure you don't pull so hard that you break your string, and when you're happy with where they're sitting, then you're just going to tie this a couple more times to secure it. And then again, you're going to hide those ends down inside somewhere. So right in that same hole where the hands are coming out, and then out through the body somewhere. And then let's cut all our ends off. Alrighty. All right, we're going to start with the face now, and we're going to be working with a chain. So you can make yours any way you prefer to start a chain. What I do is I fold my yarn over. I'm going to grab up here, wrap it around my finger, making a loop, and I'm going to bring that loop down, around and through to make a knot. Then I'm just going to slide that knot up, and I want my loop to be just a little bit bigger than my hook. Now that's probably a little big, but I'm going to let it go. A slip knot I think might work for this as well. And now we are going to chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, starting in the second chain from the loop, or from the hook, so not the one that's on your hook, This is your first chain. This is your second chain. So you're going to be going into the second chain. We're going to do 1 single crochet, which is going to be our end. And then we are going to do 6 single crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets in this end. So 1, and we're going to pivot as we go so we end up on this other side of the chain. 2. Remember, all these 3 are in the same stitch. And pivot again so you're on the other side. 3. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets along the back side of our chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we need to put 2 single crochets right in here where we started our first single crochet. So 1, 2 in that same stitch. So it should look like this. And our next stitch is going to be starting over in here, right here. So grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And in this first stitch, we're going to do 1 increase. So that's 1 and 2 in the same stitch. And then we're going to do 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to do 3 increases around the end. So 1 increase, 2 increases. Remember, we're turning around the other side, and 3 increases. Now we're going to do our 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 2 increases on this end. So 1 increase and 2 increases. All right, and remember, we got to come around and we're going to start in this stitch right here. So for row 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase to start. So 1, and then an increase on the end. Then we're going to do our 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times around this end. So single crochet, increase, that's once, single crochet, increase, that's twice, single crochet, increase, that's 3 times, and then now we're going to do our 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase 2 times around this end. So single crochet, increase, that's 1 time, single crochet, increase, that's 2 times. All right, row 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase on this end. So single crochet, increase. Then we're going to do our 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase 3 times around this end. So single crochet, increase. That's once. 2 single crochets, 1 increase. That's twice. 2 single crochets, increase, that's 3 times. And now we're going to do 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase 2 times around this end. So 2 single crochets, increase, that's once, 2 single crochets, increase, that's twice. Okay, row 5, we are going to start with 3 single crochets and an increase on this end. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase. Then we're going to do 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase 3 times around this end. So 3 single crochets, 1 increase. So that's once, 3 single crochets, 1 increase, that's twice, 3 single crochets, increase, that's 3 times. And now we're going to do our 6 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase 2 times around this end. So 1, 2, 3, increase, that's once, 3 single crochets, increase, that's twice. Then just to even out our oval, we are going to do 3 single crochets and a slip stitch. So when we add our face, it's not as uneven. So 1, 2, 3, and then a slip stitch. Then we're going to tie that off. Leave yourself quite a bit of a tail because we're going to use that to sew this onto the head. So I like to make sure I can wrap it around 2 or 3 times. Then that'll give me lots of yarn. All right, we're going to center our face onto the head first. So what we want to do is kind of have it even from the top to the bottom, maybe a little bit more on top. I'll give you my row count, but you may choose to put it in a different space. So I'm going to be putting mine lined up with about rows 6 and 7. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right about there. And I have about 3 or 4 rows on the bottom. And just kind of make sure it's even on both sides. Use the arms and the sides of your head to kind of see. And then we're just going to temporarily put a few pins in. I'm going to be working down at the bottom, so I'm going to put a couple extras on the top and then maybe one on the bottom that I'll probably move around a bit. All right. So something like this. And now we're going to grab the eyes. And eyes, so what I want to do first is I want to find the 2 spots where I made my 3 single crochets on each end around that first chain. So where you see all these holes, that is our chain where we went on both sides. So we're going to find our first 2 ends here to begin, and then we want to move up and over 1. So over and up, kind of into that next hole of the next row. It's a little easier to see on this one. So we're going to be putting our eyes kind of on the top side of the first chain that we went around. So I'm just going to move that pin and put my first eye there. And then on the other side, then I'll just give you a peek to kind of see where I have them sitting as far as our rows go. So I got 3 rows here, 1, 2, 3 rows here, and 3 rows on the top, 1, 2, 3. So they're kind of centered around the top 3 rows, just a bit higher than that line across. Just double check if you're happy with them, and then if you are, I'm just going to flip this up and add a back to each one. These 2 pins are in my way. I'm actually going to have to flip them up the other way. I'm used to putting them in with my fingers on the inside and my thumbs on the outside. So get them in nice and good. And then try and line them up into a stitch on the head in the same row. And then now I'm going to re-put those side pins back on. Okay, now we need to mark, what did I do with that other black pin? I don't know. So now we need to mark what we're going to do with the mouth. So first we're going to mark our center between the eyes, just so we have a guide. So 1, 2, 3 holes, and I'm in the fourth one. 1, 2, 3 in the fourth one. So I'm right dead center between the eyes. And now I want to come straight down to the last, above the last 2 rows. So I'm right there in a stitch. Actually, maybe I should grab a red one so I can use this black one. So I'm right there actually in a stitch, not in a hole. And I'm going to count over to the 4th hole, so the hole right beside my pin. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go in that 4th hole. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Right beside the pin. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be the corners of our mouth, and we want our teeth to kind of be lined up with the inside of the eyes. So we're going to be going over and over. And I had to do the teeth first, so let's grab some white and do the teeth. So I just got like a fair-sized little piece of white. And the outside side of our tooth is going to be right where our pin is. So once we have that marked there, we can take that pin out, leave some thread on the bottom for tying. And we're just going to come up and over to around this next row right here. And we're just going to go around that a few times. I think I had to do 3. You want it to fill that space in. You could just do it like this. It actually don't look too bad this way. And then once you've filled one side, you're going to go over a little ways, and then you're going to come up around the other way, just so you can kind of make that point. I don't think I'm making a very good point here, but I'm going to make a much better point than that. So now that I've got that side, I'm going to come over to this side, and where my other pin is. And I'm going to make a tooth on this side. So I want to go this way. I want my teeth point to be just on the inside of my eye here. So I went 3 on the other one. I'll go 3 on this one. Whoop. And then I got to come the other way. So 3 times going the other way. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you guys are doing better at this than I am. I should have practiced this before I videoed it. Because I actually finished this guy about 5 days ago, and I've just been procrastinating the videoing part. Now I can't really remember what I did. Okay. So once you have your teeth on, we'll just give them a little tie. Not too tight because you don't want to pull those teeth in, and then we'll cut those ends off. Now let's grab a little scrap of black, and I'm just using a piece of yarn that I have previously separated. So this should have 4 strands. I've already taken 2 off, so I'm just going to separate the last 2. And I'm going to use that as embroidery thread for my mouth. That it helps if you put it between your legs or something and do that. But all right, so I've got my little strand. And if you have actual embroidery thread, this will look a lot better. So now remember, where we started, the point of our tooth is where we want that kink in the mouth. So we're going to come up where the first tooth started. We're going to go over and down on the other side where we started the tooth over here. So we're on the outside edges of those teeth. We need to make sure we have enough on both sides. And then we're just going to go over 2 holes. You can go more if you want. I only went 2. So I'm in that second hole, and then I'm just going to go around back in that kink where we have our mouth there. So it just gives them a little bit of a smile. And then do the same thing on the other side. So remember, over 2 holes. And then down where we started. And then if you're happy with your mouth, make sure it's not too loose. We'll give that a tie. Yep. Remember, not too tight. So we should look like this now. And now if you want to give them cheeks, let's do that too. Little rosy cheeks. So I'm going to go, I'm just going to go up 1. So right there. There's not a... So I'm just on the inside of that eye. Leave some thread on one side, and I think I'm going to go 2 wide on this guy. Usually I only do 1, but let's try 2. And we'll do 2 or 3 rounds. There's 1. And maybe 2. Now you have to go all the way over to the other side and match that. So I'm just up and behind that eye right there. So about right there. And then we're going around the 2 stitches. Make sure it's going the same direction. And then you'll just tie those also. If you want to take the time and crochet little cheeks, a round of 4 or 6, maybe with a smaller needle what actually looks super cute sewn on. I'm trying to go the quickest way here. All right, and now let's sew this all down. So what we want to do is do a little better pinning. So I'm actually going to pull, I want this to be a little more rounded up here. So I'm actually going to pull it up a bit as I go around. About every second or third stitch, I'm going to put a pin. The more I pull it, the more pins I'll want. So those can stay there. So just kind of evenly around. I'm not going to pull the bottom around too much. Just if it's a little square or pointed on the sides, you might want to just kind of round them out a bit with your pins as you're going around. So that's probably good. If you have a problem with your stuff moving when you're sewing it on, add a few more pins. Okay, I should be okay right there. So I'm going to thread my yarn on. And what we're going to do is we're going to come down under, right where we have our knot. We're going to grab a piece of the head. And I do mine in 2 stages because I want to make sure I'm underneath whatever I'm sewing on, and I don't want to move it. So I don't come down and up, I'll come out, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to come up that next stitch. Most important thing you want to remember is to keep all your stitches underneath. So I'm going to come back down. See, I'm going around a piece of the head, underneath my face, and then I'm going to come back up the next stitch. And then we're just going to continue that all the way around. So in the next stitch, catch a piece of that head. And then back up the next stitch. Down the next stitch, catch a piece of that head. And you see how you can't see any of my stitches? I mean, unless you want to see the stitches, there is also some uniqueness in that, making it look like it's stitched on. So while I'm doing this, I'm just going to remind you that I do have a Facebook craft page. If you ever want to share anything that you've made with me, you can click the link I have down in the description. It should be the first thing there. And just come on over, and you'll have to go into a post and make your comment or your photo, because you can't, what is with this mushroom? You can't actually post straight to the page. I can't even post to the page myself. I mean, as me, I can as the page. I do have TikTok and Instagram, but I have not been in there for quite a long time. I know I probably haven't even been in there over summer. If you leave a comment and I don't answer you, it's because I haven't seen it. I will answer every comment and message I get to. Anything else? I do have, within about the past year, I've been starting to add the yarn brands, eye sizes, colors, hook size that I use in the video, also down in the description. So if you're ever curious, you can usually find it there. If not, feel free to ask me in the comments of whichever video you're curious about. Oopsie, these little arms and legs are everywhere. Whoops. You know, when I did the pink one first, I was a tad bit worried whether it was going to look okay, but now that I got the blue one, it's looking, I'm really happy with this now. Usually I do the boy first and the girl in the video. Oh, we still got a ways to go. I'm used to finishing at the bottom. You notice how it's not moving and all the stitches are underneath. So this is a good one to practice if you're a beginner at sewing any of the pieces on. It's fairly straight actually in a lot of places. I did catch some stuffing. Whoops. See, I split that stitch there, so I'm just going to fix that. Also, feel free to comment on the videos as well, and the or share. Click the share button. That actually probably helps me out the most because that's what the YouTube algorithm uses to make it show up in the search when people are searching for something. Of course, likes and subscribe. Now I just feel like I'm talking to talk. This is a long one. We're getting closer to the end here. Oh, one other thing. If you do have a request and you don't see me answer it, it's because I'm saving it in my unresponded ones so that I don't lose the request. So I do see every comment. I know there's so many I'd like to respond to, but I don't want to lose it and then forget that it was requested, because maybe someday I will get to that. I do appreciate all the kind words and support for the way I do my videos. And if you're still here with me watching this, I really appreciate that, because it is actually the watch hours that helps me out the most. All right, I think we're pretty darn close to the end here. I think that's my knot right there. Oh, we don't want to forget that pin. All right, so yeah, there's my first stitch right there. So let's get up in there. And then just double check that it's not uneven here because of going in the round. If it is, just come over to the next stitch. And we're just going to kind of bring it back and tighten those two together. So just like that. So it almost looks like there's a stitch there. And then if you need to, you might have to come back around just to keep that nice and tight. And then I'm just going to tie it down underneath. So I'm going to go one more time down, but I'm not going through anything, just the stitch, just to get on the back side. And then I want to grab, so see, here's one of my stitches I made for sewing. I want to grab that stitch, and that's what I'm going to tie my knot to. I just find, I think it's easier to hide it if you grab a stitch instead of a piece of the face that you just made. So you'll tie your knot and then get back under there and bring it out somewhere at the back. Pull it good and tight and then just kind of fix your face. And we'll clip this end, and if you have a lot left over like me, we can use that for the next part. So we're just going to bring the eyes kind of together like this. So what we want to do is we're going to start in the center, and we're going to come out on the bottom kind of inside. I don't know, for some reason that seems hard to see right now. So I'm kind of at a 45-degree angle of the eye. I'll leave some string on one side for tying. You're going to wrap it around your eye if you can. It might be tight, but you should be able to just give it a bit of a lift and get under there like that. And we're going to go back in that same hole that we just went in. And we're going to come over to the matching hole on this side at about a 45-degree angle. And when you go down and grab a chunk of stuffing before you come up. And that will help kind of poof this up a bit when we pull the strings together. Now we got to get around this side. And then we're going to go back in that same hole and out where we started. Okay. Now we're going to give them one tie. And you're going to kind of push them where you want them and tighten your string at the same time. Just be careful. Sometimes they look really good close together until you're finished, and then you realize he looks cross-eyed. So just make sure before you secure that knot that your eyes are where you want them and not too close. I'm going to make mine, these ones are a little closer, just so you can see. And then we will thread those out the back somewhere. Make sure you're in the same place you started. My thread came out. You know, I have not been watching the camera very good, so I hope I'm staying in view here. Let's give those a cut. And you may just have to fix, see how there's a little bit of a hole there where we tied our knot. You just may have to scoot those stitches around a bit. And let's give him some white on his eyes as well. So I'm just grabbing another scrap of white. And we're going to start by just coming up here, kind of at the top corner of the eye. I might want to just catch a bit of thread there so it doesn't slide back. So we're just a little bit to the inside, not quite the middle. I'll just double check. If you wanted to give them little eyes, they're kind of cute little sad eyes, you just go down on this side instead. So I'm giving them on the top, but you can go any way you want. Leave some thread on one side. Then I'm going to come down about the middle of the eye. And I'm going to bring that up through the center of his face. And very gently pull that. You don't want these to slide under the eye. So you want it tight, but not so tight that it wants to slide under. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we want to go right in the same spot we did on that side. I'm just inside from that cheek, it looks like. And then come up. I know that eye post is a bit tricky to get around. It doesn't help that my needle's twisted the wrong way. And then gently pull that through. Just tight enough that it sits there but doesn't go underneath the eye. And then we'll tie that. Put that through the back. Careful not to pull this too tight because you don't want to accidentally move those eye slits underneath. And I just gently cut that. You can't really notice because it's the same color, but if you do have that little piece there, you can just swipe it away with your needle. Oh, there, he's looking cute. All right, now we are going to do the horn. And again, you can start any way you prefer. I will be making a knot with a loop on the end, like I was making a chain. Insert my hook. Grab my yarn, pull up, and chain one. Now remember, that does not count as a stitch. That's just attaching our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into that loop over top of the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 6 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row 3, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 8. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4. Repeat that. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8. Row 4, we are going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 5, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 10. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10. Row 6, 10 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're just going to slip stitch in that next stitch, tie off, leaving a bit of a tail to sew that on. So if you make sure it goes around 2 or 3 times, you will have more than enough. And then I always leave a little extra still at the end. All right, and now we just want to add a little bit of stuffing. So I have way too much already, so just grab a little piece. And you want to make sure you're stuffed up into the point. So I'm just going to put all my tail ends up there first, and then try and get as much stuffing into the tip as I can, and then I'll add a little bit more to the bottom. It doesn't have to be too firm, but what you want to make sure is that you have the outside bottom stuffed enough that when you sew it on, it's not going to cave in on you. So you want it to be stuffed right to the bottom, but not overflowing. You want to make sure it's flat. So like this. So you don't want any of your stuffing coming out if you can help it. So if you've just finished your first one, I will again put a screenshot over in the next frame if you need to go back and do your second one. And then if you've done your second one, just keep on watching and we'll move on to the next part. All right, so you're going to want to have your pins handy for this one. And just before we start, I'm just going to show you our goal for pinning this on. So we want to be kind of in the front side of our first row, and we want to be between rows 2 and 3. So here's row 1, where our first loop is, row 2, and we want to be just in here somewhere with our first stitch on either side. So let's put our first one in, and I'm using my tail as my start in the front, so it'll be right here. So right where that knot is about where I want to put my pin. So just in front and over. Placement isn't so much as important as getting the second one in the right spot. And now you can just take this and spin it. Where do I want it? Do I want them up high? Do I want them sideways? Do I want them closer to the front? And I'm going to make it so I have about 2 rows showing here. So I'm going to put it about right there. So these 2 rows, I'm going to pin my other pin right there, which I could count is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's between rows 5 and 6. And then I'm just going to go all the way around. I'm going to go in every single stitch, and I'm going to pin that and kind of pull out, keeping it round, and pin it so that when I sew it on, it does not move around on me. So see how I'm grabbing the 2 loops and I'm kind of pulling them out and down so that when I come to sew them, it'll make it a lot easier for me to get into that stitch. So that's probably good. And I'm going to pin the other one now too. Excuse me. So remember, we've got our starting string up at the top, and that's where we're going to put our first pin. So I'm just a bit in front and over. Let's kind of match that over there. Right there. Between rows 2 and 3. And then remember, I swung it down so I was even with these 2 rows here. Then I'm going to pin it. Just have a quick look that they're the same. I kind of try and go up from the eyes. Do they end and begin in the same spot? And if you're happy with it, you're going to start pinning. I'm just going to do the front first just so I can watch how centered it is and how much I need to pull. And I'm not pulling mine very much. Sorry, I hope my hands aren't in the way here. I can't really pin and look in the camera at the same time. Okay, I think that's okay. Now I'm going to pin the back. This time I am going to pull it out. Just the way mine's sitting, you might not have to. But I didn't pull the other one much, so I'm going to pull. I just want it to be round at the base here where it's attached. Have another quick look. Make sure you're happy with that. And if you are, you're going to thread your needle on. And just like we did the face, we're going to do exactly the same way. So you're going to come down and under. Find that first stitch, making sure you're underneath the horn. That's the only problem with doing both at once here. My other string's in my way. Come up your next stitch. Make sure you're getting both of the strands of that V. Now I'm taking my pins out, but if yours feels like it's going to move around, you can keep your pins in. Whoopsie. I've just done this a million times, so I kind of know when I have it pinned right. See that? It's a problem. And go back up the next stitch. Make sure you're keeping it nice and tight. And always staying underneath the horn so you don't see your stitches. Oh my gosh. Oh. Back up the next stitch. Down the next stitch and just all the way around. My little robot just became my new pin cushion, I think. Make sure you're getting underneath both these, pulling out if you need to, and staying under the horn. And here's my last one. I started right there. And just like we did on the face, if you see that it's a little uneven, you can always grab the next stitch or this stitch and then pull it backwards a bit, and it will kind of even it out, hopefully. So I'll go back in one more time so I can tie. Come on, we're almost done. And then try and find a stitch. I got mine pretty tight there. Okay, I found one. So I'm finding that stitch I put in there. So I'm not in the horn, I'm in one of the stitches that I used to sew the horn on, and then I'm going to tie my knot. Close to it as you can so that you can hide it out. Now usually when I do horns or ears, I put them close out the back and then I pull them in later like I did the arms, but I'm not going to do that with these ones. Just in case you want to give it a try, put it down the back center close to the top of the head. And then let's try the second horn. So when I did this horn, I went in the front, so I'm going to make sure I go the same way, just in case when you pull it, you're pulling your horns the same way. So I got to go down and around here. And then back up that same stitch. Down the next stitch and around. Guess I should have done this horn first. I don't have to twist it around quite as much. Down and around. I think you can see this one better too. Make sure you're catching every stitch and you're not moving it too much. one felt, nope, I got it. Felt like I didn't go in the right stitch, but I did. So I'm already back at the beginning on this one. So I'm going to do like the last one. I'm just going to go down in my next stitch and oh my goodness, excuse me, and go backwards. I'm going to come down here just because I can see a stitch there that I can grab to tie. So that one worked a little better for showing how you can kind of keep it straight. So there's my stitch I want to grab to tie my knot. Nice and tight under the horn if you can. And then I'm going to come down and out where my other string was. I'm going to give it one tie. Now I'm just tying mine loosely, but if you want, you can do this. You can pull them in closer. It'll probably make them go up more like this. It probably won't shape the face too much differently, like if you were down lower, like when we do ears or something. Now let's just hide those ends. Now, I'm probably going to get a lot of questions about how to get the horns, how to make these horns so they're kind of tipped out to the side. I did nothing to do that, to make them tip, except use my own fingers. So I didn't stitch them any special fancy way or anything. I just pulled them down with my fingers. And then I'm just going to quickly show you how I started to get the little fuzz on the head. Alright, so to make the little hairs, and I made mine a little short, I think, or cut them too short, so I'm going to make mine extra long and then do a little better trim job. So I'm just going to, I'm holding the end of my yarn, and I'm just going to wrap my yarn around about 30 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's about 30-ish. So I'm going to cut my end. And then I'm going to cut the bottom. So now I got about 30 pieces of hair that, oh, that's not a good angle. And they are about, let's say about 5 inches long. Now all we're going to do, so for me, I did the front half of the starting loop, and then I just went between the horns till I got about 1, 2, 3, 4 rows down, and then I just came and I did 3 down and 2 across here, just because I thought it needed a little bit of more. So I'm just going to start the first couple. So I'm going down right in the center, coming out, grab one of your threads and fold it in half, Then you're going to grab that end, pull it through, and then you're going to, oh, it's hard to see in the white, isn't it? And then you're going to grab those ends again and pull it through your loop and give that a pull. So let's do that one more time. So I'm going down and around a row. Getting a halfway point on my string yarn, pulling it through, and then I'm grabbing those ends and pulling it through that loop I just made. And then you'll just continue to do that back and forth wherever you want it. I think this would look super cute if you spent the time to do a lot more, or even just go around the horns. And a couple other things you can do if you want. You can untwist these and separate them. See, there'll be 4 strands there. You can separate those. And then after you separate those, if you want to go even further, you could brush them with a wire brush of some sort. So I'm just gonna add the rest of his little hair off camera, and then I will join you back here in a second. And then if you want to just give him a little heart on his chest, you're just going to grab whatever color. I'm going to use my accent color. And just pick a stitch somewhere kind of a bit to one side. And we're going to be going over, skipping a stitch, and going over. So if this is where we want to start our heart bottom, I'm just going to come over a little ways. Leave some string on one side for tying, and we're going to go up and then over into the next stitch. And we're going to go around about 3 or 4 times. This is just a simple embroidery. You can always make a little heart to put on out of crochet, or you could if you have any little heart embellishments, that would look cute over here. But I'm just going to go an easy way if you want it to be all yarn. So now we got one side of our heart. Now we're going to go over to this side and do the other side of our heart. So I'm skipping that one stitch and going over. And same thing for this side. About 3 or 4 times around. So just whatever you did on the other side, you will do on this side. I should have done this side first because I cannot. It's tricky to keep it in the camera view here. This is where being ambidextrous would be very handy. So there's my 4th one. And I should have went here, but I came up, so I'm just going to go back down and out where I started. And you might have to play with this, like my second one looks a little nicer than my first one. But it will work. And you'll just give that a tie and thread it out the back somewhere. Don't pull too hard because you don't want to tighten your heart. Just make sure it's through. Fix that stitch if you need to. And then cut. And here's a good example of how to get rid of that little blue piece. If you can't pull on your thread, you just stick your needle in, swipe across, and it disappears. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd like to send out a big thank you to all my super thanks friends listed at the end of my videos. And as always, take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.